Good morning. Good morning. We've got a packed house in here today. I know there's a lot of special people that are getting ready to retire, and that I guess involves me. Mr. Gurley, do you have something?
I do. With this morning, I'll ask Mr. Kevin Denton to come up to the podium. Mr. Denton is the music pastor of Faith Free Baptist, and I ask Mr. Denton to lead us this morning in vacation. Thank you.
Let's pray together. Father, we do love you. We are grateful for your goodness to us. Lord, today we pause and thank you for this great country that we're privileged to live in and the freedoms that we possess. Freedoms that are fought for day after day after day. Here in this country, here in this county, and across the world. We're thankful for those who are in uniform today in our military, even in our town, Lord, that fight for our freedoms so that we can keep our freedoms. Lord, we thank you for allowing us to live in this great country. We thank you for Wayne County and the city of Goldsboro and the officials you have placed in office to serve us as a community. I pray, Lord, that we'll always be faithful to pray for them and to seek your guidance for them. Lord, I pray today for these meetings that will occur in this place. Lord, I pray for every man and woman that will speak here today, everything that will be said, every decision that needs to be made. Lord, I pray that you'll give wisdom, that you'll give clarity of thought. And Lord, that when the day is done, that Lord, things will be accomplished and that you will be pleased. I pray, Lord, for your hand of protection on these men and women today in this place. I pray, Lord, that everything that is said and done today will point to you, will honor you, and above all, it will please you. And again, we just thank you for the honor it is to be here today, for the honor it is to speak to our Lord and Savior, knowing that you're listening and that you're concerned about the things that concern us. We thank you now and praise you for all that you're going to do and accomplish in this place. It's in your wonderful name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, folks. Good morning again. I hope everybody's had the opportunity to read the minutes or any changes in the minutes. If not, I'll accept the motion to approve.
So moved, Mr.
We've got a motion on the floor to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand, please. Okay. We did have one change in the agenda. We moved from the consent agenda, the resolution number 3, to new business as the new number 4. Is there any other change in the agenda? I accept the motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
All those in favor? We've got a motion on the floor. I'm sorry, give me a chance to talk. Anybody, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Okay. Presentation of employment service pins. That we all need to come down up front.
Well, we got a lot of pins to give out. Plenty of that shows.
Okay. I was going to hear that sooner or later.
The one-armed bandit.
Yeah.
Heading 7 away to the crossing.
I know they were.
You ready for me? Sorry. All right, for the one-year pins, Aaron J. Alves, Emergency Medical Services. Willie E. Barnett, Emergency Medical Services. Nicholas M. Beeman, Emergency Medical Services. Patrick L. Best, Detention Center. Kristen B. Bova, Social Services. Chester Brown Jr., Social Services. Denise M. Cohen, Health Department. Sean L. Daughtry, Detention Center. Peyton A. Harpel, Emergency Services. Angela K. Kessler, Emergency Medical Services. Louis T. Pate, Wayne Net. Kimberlyn Z. Salinas Ramirez, Animal Control. Anthony J. Santagata, Detention Center. Jose F. Arias, Detention Center. Teresa R. George, Social Services. John R. Polsky, Detention Center. Benton C. Rain, Detention Center. John E. Savage, Detention Center. Catherine Z. Stevens, Library. Dennis J. Ward, Detention Center. John B. Wilson, Day Reporting Center. Veronica M. Wooten, Detention Center. And that is it for our 1 year. All right, next we have our 5-year service pins. Kimberly N. Brunson from Day Reporting Center. Matthew R. Fishman from the Sheriff's Office. Kimberly Hammond, Social Services. Tyler Kelly, Sheriff's Office. Faye Warren, Health Department. Rosemary Loomis, Library. Jeremy H. Radford, Library. Joseph J. Borquist, Sheriff's Office. And that's it for our 5-year pin. We now have our 10-year employee service pins, starting with Casey DeGricci Roberts from the Health Department. Prudencia G. Moore, Social Services. Alexander A. Westbrook, Emergency Medical Services. Tranisha D. Evans, Social Services. Daniel J. Truhan with the Sheriff's Office. All right, that's it for our 10 years. Next, we have our 15-year employee service pins, beginning with Angela P. Barnes, Emergency Medical Services. Cynthia R. Blizzard, Emergency Medical Services. Stephanie L. Cannon, Day Reporting Center. Cleveland K. Johnson, Emergency Medical Services. Dorcas T. Walker, Emergency Medical Services. Brenda E. Norman, Library. Mary E. Carr, Health Department. Brandy H. Jones, Sheriff's Office. Jamie S. Sturgill, Sheriff's Office. Okay, that is it for our 15-year pins. And receiving 20-year employee service pins, Stephen E. Stroud, Inspections.
Really?
Katie A. McAuliffe, Social Services. And that is it for our 20. And now receiving her 30-year pin, just before she leaves us, Cindy Whitfield.
And I feel amazingly.
Can we get,
Cindy. I just want to make a few comments. As y'all know, Cindy works with me in my office. Y'all also know Cindy runs the office. And this is going to be a big blow, I'll tell you. It's been a terrific partnership, and I really appreciate everything you've done. When I first came 3 years ago, I didn't know anybody in Wayne County, but Cindy knows everybody in Wayne County. So it's been a tremendous help to me. She's probably the most organized executive secretary I've ever had in my career. And she's just a delight to work with. I think all of you know she's a people person. She genuinely loves people. She'll do anything to help anybody. And she's also got a great sense of humor. If you don't, yours matches mine. We get along great. It's just been terrific. I thoroughly enjoyed working with you. We're really going to miss you. And just want to wish you, Jason, the best. And we want you to know what you think about the embassies employed as well. And we understand why you're leaving service.
Thank you.
Okay. Just real quick, and then Cindy's going to introduce her family. Presented to Cynthia Whitfield, County Manager's Office, in appreciation of dedicated service as a county employee, April 1, 1987 to April 28, 2017, County of Wayne, North Carolina.
I just wanted to take a minute to introduce my family since they took the time out of their schedule to come. I have my sister Jane, please come up. You might notice some resemblance. We think we're twins, we're only 5 years apart. My brother-in-law, when I was young. My brother-in-law, Greg, and then I have my children, Jennifer, my daughter, and I'm sure you've heard, this is Harrison, and then you've heard Lincoln, and my son-in-law, Greg. And I just want to, Greg, John, I might be a tad bit nervous. I just wanted to say to all of you, it's been an honor and a privilege to work with you all. And I will certainly miss you. And I want to thank the Board of Commissioners individually, Mr. Mayo, Mr. Bernardi, Mr. Daugherty, Mr. Pegg, Mr. Gurley, Mr. Adcock, Mr. Bell. I want to thank the County Manager, George Wood, County Attorney, Gordon Parker, Assistant County Manager, Craig Whitfield. I have Craig and Greg. And I also want to thank my staff. I supervise central services, so that's Dexter Stevens and Keisha. And to all of you that are in this room, you hold a special meaning, a special part in my heart that you've been close to me. You've been my support team, but most of all, you've become my family. God bless you all. And now we'll leave so you can really hear the movie. Can I get one picture?
Yes.
With all of y'all? Okay. That's just it. Oh, okay. Oh, you might want my Everybody look right here.
Yeah!
Need to have mine ready. After 5 minutes, I realize I need
Okay, we're back to business. That was certainly worth the time, but we're running a little bit late, but that's okay. Like I said, we're running a little bit late, so we're past the 9:05, but we will have public comments at this time. Anyone who wants to speak, you have 4 minutes to come up, give your name and your address, and like I said, public comments is open. No, this is public comments period. You can speak this now, so you want to. There'll be a time to speak it like that as well, but this is just for regular comments somebody might have. All right, not seeing any, so. I see one.
Bob Jackson, 1303 Ninth Street, 919-921-2462. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I saw in the paper last night that we're investigating doing another shell building. At least I hope that's correct. That there was authorized Mr. Wood to advertise for proposals to build a 50,000 square foot shell building. We had one down in Mount Olive. I think that we sat on for 10 plus years, something like that we really took a beating on financially. It is my opinion, anyway, that we should leave the business kinds of things like this to business. I don't know how we justify using taxpayers' money to do shell buildings. I understand we got the park out there and we got lots for sale. And I would hope that we would keep it that way and push to sell the property so that business can come in and compete fairly. I have a problem with giving to those who have and use the money to those who have not to do it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my feeling on it. And I would hope that you would reconsider shell buildings and let's spend our money otherwise if we have it. I would hope that if we are in that kind of position financially, that we would look at a tax reduction. I am convinced that the best way to attract business is to have the best tax rate in this area. And even if it's already good, then make it better so that there will be more that would like to come and join us in Wayne County. I don't know how far along we are other than exploratory, but please consider a different direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Anyone else?
Good morning, Vic Miller, 148 Oxford Drive, 210-862-3372. As usual, gentlemen, it's always a pleasure and an honor to be up here in front of you, the county commissioners. Welcome back, Chairman Pate. It's good to see you. Hope your arm's doing well. It's that time of year, gentlemen. I know it always seems like the Wayne County Veterans and Patriots Coalition has always got something going on, as we do. Most recently, we have Memorial Day events coming up, but that's not what brings me up here today, because we don't have to raise money for Memorial Day events. What we are doing is we've kicked off our fundraising for our Purple Heart Banquet. And many of you have attended that before, and I'm here to invite all the county commissioners and the staff, if they would like to attend the Purple Heart Banquet, which is going to be Friday, August 4th. And hopefully, this is the last year we'll be doing it at the First Pentecostal Holiness Church, and we're looking forward to doing it next year at the new convention center down off Wayne, by Wayne Community College. This event approximately costs about $15,000. And what we do is we honor those who've been wounded in combat, and we also honor those who, the Gold Star family members. And because we are honoring those, we don't expect the Gold Star family members or the Purple Heart recipients, which is about 55 in Wayne County alone, we don't expect them to pay for their tickets. And their tickets are about $25 a piece, and that includes a meal and a gift and a walk of honor that we honor them. And we give the Gold Star family members gifts as well, because it's all about honoring those who've been wounded and those who have gone before us. So there's different levels of sponsorship that we offer, or that we ask for, and there's, we call it the red, white, and blue, and there's also a purple sponsor. And the red sponsor is $100 and gets you 2 tickets. White sponsor gives you, which is $250, gets you 4 tickets. And the blue sponsor, which gives you 6 tickets. And if the purple sponsor is $1,000, and that gives you the entire table. And the reason why I bring that up is not just for you, because we cannot host the Purple Heart Banquet without supporters like you gentlemen up here on Wayne County Commissioners has always sponsored that, and we're extremely grateful, and the City Council, the City of Goldsboro has always sponsored. But the reason why I say it is not just for you up on the board, it's just people here in the room listening and get it on record that we are trying to raise money, and we are starting to. And I just wanted to formally invite every one of you on the staff, please, we'd love to see every one of you up here at the Purple Heart Banquet on August 4th at the First Pentecostal Holiness Church. And again, I'm honored and I'm thankful that you guys allow me to speak. So thank you, and welcome back, Chairman. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, sir. My name is Melvin Taft, and I'm from the south side of the county.
Could you give us the address and phone number for the clerk?
Do what?
Your address and phone number for the clerk.
3163, whether it's business or
Whichever
resident.
is getting hold of it.
If you want the mailing address, 3163 Highway 117 Bypass, Mount Olive. Phone number 919-920-8106. All right. Anyway, the reason I'm here is I was alarmed at what I read in the newspaper about a week ago about a $42 million that y'all want to spend. I've asked over 24 people concerning this personally, and other people have overheard what I've said, and they have talked to other people, and it's appalling, and I believe that y'all would even ask for it. No one that I've talked to is in favor of it at all. The other thing is that is absolutely absurd to me is that no one knows who you are. No one that I asked of those about 25 people even know who any of you are. I think it's two parties out of touch. I think it's you all and the people too. Would there be a way to reckon this? You know, I wouldn't even know who you are. I would have never known who you were if I'd have met you on the street or anywhere else. That's wrong. I wish you all had business cards you could pass out with your name, address, telephone number, so people would get to know you. Did you knock on any doors when you were campaigning? There are about 160,000 registered citizens in Wayne County. That's registered citizens. On the south side of the county, I don't know how it is when you cross the river here. I do come over here and have business in other places. But if you add up all the illegals and undocumented people, you're going to get up somewhere around 400,000. Y'all might not be aware of it, but it's there. When you were elected, how many votes did any of you receive? And how many people, how many voting citizens are in your district? each district. That's an interesting thing. What year budget are we working off of now at the present time, and what's that dollar amount? The tax revenue dollars that are present. Does the county have any indebtedness at the present time? Will it be possible, as I asked Mr. Gurley, I've talked to him a couple of times, the one reason you're out of touch is this 9 o'clock meeting. Could there be some meetings scheduled where they would revolve? Let's say have a meeting on a Tuesday or Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and then one on a Saturday at 9 o'clock a.m. That way it gives all the working class people time to be here. All right, I'm going to skip a whole lot of it and get on right down to the end of it. I do believe that Wayne County has the potential to be the hallmark county of the state, but at the present time, it's a sewer of the state with the sorriest leadership at the helm that I've ever seen. This is worse than Washington, D.C., and you commissioners are the problem. Recognize it. Come to repentance and change direction. A good place to start is prayer. Reading the good book.
Thank you for your comments, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Okay, I'm going to close the public comments at this time. The public hearing did not have a time on it. Was it 9:15?
Yes, sir, 9:15.
9:15, so I think we're good.
Okay, we'll just go ahead and move right on into that. So, Mr. Wood, if you would.
Okay. We're, just to give you a little background to refresh everybody's memory, you voted to call this public hearing for the issuance of $42,368,473. That's the total bond issue. It would be a 20-year negotiated sale. Also, to remind everybody, no tax increase will be required for repayment. The reason for that is, as y'all recall, we have about $2 million a year dropping off of our debt service schedule in about 2 years. And the first 2 years on the debt repayment schedule, the LGC, which is the State Treasurer's Office, has approved a lesser amount in those first 2 years to help us bridge those 2 years. So with that, our sale is scheduled, if you approve everything, for June 15th, and the closing would be prior to June 30th. So that's our estimated schedule at this time. If you approve this, what's left to be done is to prepare the official statement along with the State Treasurer's Office. Also, we need to go to New York and get bond ratings from Moody's and also Standard & Poor's. We feel like we should get a very good rating given the county's size and also the financial condition. What I'd like to do now is just read off a list of what's included in the bond issue. To finish the Maxwell Regional Agricultural Convention Center, as you know, we have some other sources of revenue going to that project as well. But from the limited obligation bonds that you would issue, we would issue $12,042,604. And again, that would be 20-year level principal payments. The next project we have is to run sewer both to the elementary and middle school at Grantham, and that will tie back in to our gravity sewer system. This will all be a force main coming back into our gravity sewer system at our landfill. And then ultimately from the landfill it goes over to Goldsboro's wastewater treatment plant for treatment. And the cost of that is $2,615,869. We're also finishing up a fiber loop project. This is an IT project to loop a fiber cable system, so to give us redundancy, and also to take it on out along Wayne Memorial Drive out to the Agricultural Center. That's $610,000. Then we purchased, as y'all know, in the last few months, you agreed to provide the Sheriff's Office, also dispatch and EMS with software, upgraded software, and our cost of that is $1.3 million. that will be paid off within the first 7 years because that's the useful life of that. Then we have the Meadow Lane Elementary School, and as y'all recall, we're replacing Meadow Lane Elementary School, but what you're also replacing is the Edgewood Community Development School, and you will put a wing on the Edgewood School for that. And the cost for that is $20 million. Southern Wayne Gymnasium and Classrooms, that's $3,200,000. School Gymnasium HVAC Systems, this is 3 of them, would be $400,000. And then the Canterbury Village and North Creek Street Assessments is $2.2 million. And so the total, again, is $42,368,473. I also want to point out that what you heard was a fairly lengthy list of school projects. Those school projects are repaid by restricted sales tax that goes to the schools. Part of the county's sales taxes are always split with schools statutorily, and then they're to be used for either construction or debt service on construction. And the other part of that is all the lottery money that the county gives. And the lottery money, of course, is also earmarked only for construction of schools or the debt service on that construction. So all of the school projects will actually be repaid from those sources of revenue, not general fund monies. The rest of it will be paid for by general fund monies. And again, those monies will come from the fact that we have some debt that's coming off in about 2 years. And so that will free up the repayment schedule here. And that's why we won't need a tax increase to afford all of these. Several of these projects, as you know, are already underway. We started the Maxwell Regional Agricultural and Convention Center last July with the site work. That project is well underway. The Fiber Loop project is about halfway done. The Sheriff's Office software has been purchased. Meadow Lane has not been bid out yet, but it will be within the next month. So they've been busy with the architect getting that designed, and they'll have that underway shortly. Same thing with Southern Wayne Gym and Classrooms. That has not been designed yet. The HVAC systems also have not been. Canterbury Village and North Creek Street Assessment, we've been working with the engineer on that project, as you know, for some time. And it's on your agenda today to authorize us to go forward with getting bids on those projects. And those are the 8 projects that we intend to fund with this bond issue. Just to remind you that whenever you start the construction work, before you issue the bonds, we have to pass a resolution saying that it's our intent to reimburse those expenses from these bonds once the proceeds come in. In all these cases where it's already started, we've done that. So we will be reimbursed those costs that we have fronted on while we waited to go to the bond market. That's a good overview of it. And I believe Ted Cole with Davenport and Company is here if you have any questions on it as well.
Any questions from the board? Public hearing is open. The floor is open. Anybody wants to speak to it, please come on up. If you'll give us your name and phone number and address.
My name is Jim Twiggs, Twiggs, 224 South Spence Avenue, 919-738-8821. Okay. Good morning, and let me say I'm all in favor of Wayne County improvement, no doubt about that. I am astounded that out of the thousands of residents in Wayne County, there are not many here today. I just have 3 questions. One that I'm not hearing addressed, and that is the total interest payment on $42 million worth of bonds. Does anyone here know the estimated cost over 20 years of the interest payment? And while you're looking, I'll go into the second question. Second question is, if Wayne County defaults on these municipal bonds, what will you use for collateral to repay the principal and interest? And again, I'll go to the third question. Mr. Wood has said that there would be no tax increase, and I didn't hear any specific number of years. Is he prognosticating that over 20 years, there will never be a tax increase because of this $42 million bond sale? Those are my three questions.
Do we have that interest?
While he's looking at that, I can answer the
Okay.
second one. The Board of Education has conveyed to the county the school at Meadow Lane and Southern Wayne High School. Those will be put up as collateral for the loans. That's the same thing that has happened with the construction of the two new middle schools. That is what has been done. With respect to the money from Tri-County Electric, the Maxwell Center will be put up for that.
Would that cover the entire 42?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Okay.
Let me answer your other question. The county will not default.
I understand. That's what the
Well,
state said.
no, let me get to the point. In North Carolina, the state treasurer's office will not allow a local government to default. If nothing else is paid in your budget in any year, the debt will be paid.
Right.
So that will not happen.
Okay.
Okay. The estimate is approximately about $17 million of interest. That's an estimate because we've estimated where we think the bond market will be in June. But that is an estimate, somewhere around $17 million.
Okay, so the estimated total repayment in the form of principal and interest would be like $59 million.
That's right.
Okay, very good. That's it, Tom.
And I guess the final question you asked about, could he prognosticate out whether we ever had one? I don't think anybody can do that, but this one bond issue will not push us out to a tax increase.
No, the only way you'd have a tax increase is if you were to do something in the future. There's no tax increase required for these bonds because we have about $2 million of debt coming off the books. And this will basically slide in there in that place. And that's why we don't need a tax increase.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
I have one comment to make. I as commissioner, I may not be in office 4, 5, 6 years from now. The only thing I can tell you is that I, as commissioner right now, do not support a tax increase. I cannot answer for future commissioners that are going to sit on this board. So, thank you.
Good morning, Shirley Edwards, 1766 Tommy's Road, Goldsboro, 275-34919-604-7952. I am in support of the bond issue as such. There are questions about certain parts of it, but I am applauding you for long overdue addressing the Wayne County schools, because some of those schools, if you go into them, they are in need of a lot of work, and I am really pleased that we're doing something at Southern Wayne, and for that matter, for our special needs children. I am hopeful of the Maxwell Center. I hope that when it's completed, when we look at the hiring and the staffing of it, we will look at diversity. Many times we don't do this in our hiring of our buildings and services here. But overall, I support the bond. I just think that we always can do better in diversity in this county. We lag behind some other places. So in essence, I do support the bond issue.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. Anyone else? Do we take action, or do we close it out first?
Close it first.
Hearing no more, I'll close the public hearing. And what is the pleasure of the board? Are we ready to move forward?
A motion is needed, sir.
Yes, sir.
I would like to make a motion to proceed forward with the issuance of the bonds for the $42 million.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just a few highlights. Again, out of the $42 million, a little over $26 million of that is in fact school construction and improvements. The repayment of those borrowed funds comes specifically from sales tax or lottery dollars that are earmarked specifically for school construction. You can't use those dollars anywhere else other than school construction. But the county has got to go out and borrow those dollars in order to build those structures. So that's 26 million. Out of the the 16 million approximately that's left, you've got $1.3 million, which are overdue improvements for software to keep us safe in this county, and that's with the Sheriff's Department. There's $2.6 million for a sewer extension to the Grantham community. It not only is providing sewer facilities for Grantham School, but is extended out to the Grantham community. So that will help a great deal in the development south end of the town. And the last item that I want to point out is that in the MRAC, the $12.5 billion, everyone will recall, we worked several years ago to bring about additional increases in our taxes that we are levying on our motel and hotel rooms. And that is going to offset that as well. So it's even though it seems dramatic, and I agree with you, $42 million that we're borrowing, we're putting it all together into one package. Into my comments. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I would just like to thank my colleagues and thank Mr. Wood for attending to the financial dollar side of this. I would only like to speak to the people side of it just for a moment. There's oftentimes a suggestion that the public is not up here to advocate or to express their displeasure, but that's not true. Over time, we've had a great deal of the public to be in this room to advocate for street improvements, and just to speak specifically about the southern part of the county, and I won't embarrass them by calling their names, but we've had realtors, farmers, representatives of big business to come in this room and advocate for school improvements, and especially the Southern Wayne Gym. And this is the human part of this I want to share with you. I represent the South. Folk came in this room and talked about the fact that one of the reasons needed for a gym was because, and this is some Title IX stuff, the young ladies who came to participate in certain sports at Southern Wayne oftentimes had to change in the buses because there were not adequate facilities. Now those are real human situation needs, and that's coming from parents who live in the southern part of the county and who represent folk in the southern part of the county and who serve on many different boards. So any instance that you see something that's in this litany, it wasn't determined in one day, it was determined over time. And Ms. Shirley, I appreciate you coming up today, as she doesn't work for the school system, but she's an advocate for all things good in Wayne County. Thank you for coming up to support the school situation issue. And the sewer is a direct benefit for the school system, the elementary and middle school. But thank you, sir, for pointing out the fact that it will help all of that area to go forward. Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments? All right, we've got a motion on the floor. If there's no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. All right, let's move on to unfinished business, and I'll turn this over to you, Mr. Wood.
Okay, the next item, page 11 of your agenda. This is a request from the WCDA to allow them to move forward with the Shell building. You have a letter from Bob Carnegie, who's the chairman of that board. And at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Crystal Geddes with WCDA to make a presentation.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Board of Commissioners. As you know, the Wayne County Development Alliance, the mission of our organization is to, one, support our existing industries in Wayne County and their efforts to expand and grow their business and be successful. And two, to recruit new industry into the county to, one, spread the tax base, and two, to create jobs among our citizens within Wayne County. Over the past 2.5 years that I've been with the WCDA, we have spent a lot of time and effort on improving our marketing ability of our county. And we represent the whole entire county and the 7 municipalities within it. So we want to market all the way across from our road infrastructure, which we have, bar none, some state-of-the-art roadway and transportation access network. We work hard on our workforce development with our community college and our public school systems. We work strong with our industries to support them and address the issues that they may face. And with all of this done, we've increased our marketing appearance, I guess, through our website, the information that's available. A lot of our projects come through that really view our website. And these days, they don't come here for us to win them over. They look at our website to eliminate us first, to find out what it is about this community that does not provide them what they need. So we've really done a really good job in improving all of that. So with all of that said, I can go out there and market everything, and I can promote the fact that we have a great military installation and military spouses and the workforce and the transportation network, and we've got 2 really good parks that we can promote. But recent studies from various organizations have shown that the majority of the projects that come through request existing buildings. And that's one area that we are weak in and we're lacking in right now. I can get them and convince them that we've got the quality of life, we've got the workforce, we've got the transportation network, we're close to the ports, we've got all of these things, but the one box, and they decide they want to come here, they love the community, but when I get them here, where am I going to put them? I have nowhere to put them. And the buildings that we have available currently do not measure up to the needs and the requirements of these industries. They're lower ceilings, they're older buildings. Much of them require so much upfit that they could go out and build a new building in the amount of money that they can take to upfit some of these old ones. So I've done some research and study, and that's not a problem just for Wayne County. That's across the state, really. My colleagues, I sit in various meetings, they're all in need of product, and we define product as buildings and sites. And so they're all starting to get on the wagon to figure out how they're going to get something to recruit and land these projects that come through. Because if we don't have it, they move on. These projects are fast-paced, a lot of them. If you don't have what they need, they're not going to wait 1.5 years, 2 years to build a building. So what I did was some studies and called some of our surrounding counties around Wayne County just to see what they were doing. I knew they had the same problem. And I'd like to draw your attention to the PowerPoint slides on each side of the room. Lenoir County, for instance, they have a 40,000 square foot facility expandable to 160,000. 2 sides of this is tilt-up concrete, 2 sides are metal. They have a nice roof pitch. They did a vapor barrier floor on this, windows up top and below, some space for office space there. This was at a cost of about $1.4 million. This was done in 2008 and 2009 that they did this. They used money from NC East Alliance that was reserved for them to build this. You can have the next slide. There should be some before that. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's take a look at Wilson County. They just finished a 98,000 square foot shell building. This is a metal structure. It's a 32-foot ceiling heights. If you'll recall what I just mentioned, the product that we have here in Wayne County right now does not satisfy the ceiling heights. That is the trend of the industries today. They have parking spaces. They could be up for 150. They did 20 paved ones. This was at a cost of about $2.4 million, $27.50 a square foot. This sits on 10 acres. And this was a city and county investment over a period of time. The city and the county put in $250,000 apiece until they reached $2.5 million. And at that point, once they reached that goal, Then they decided to take that money and build a shell building, and what they'll do is keep rolling that money over to keep product available for projects. Onslow County, they just broke ground on a 30,000 square foot shell building, expandable to 60,000 square feet. Again, this is a metal structure, and if you'll take a look again, 30-foot ceiling heights. This is not unusual. We're looking at anywhere from 28 to 45-foot ceiling heights for projects now. That's the standard. They did just 6 paved parking spaces. Their cost is about $1.4 million. This is at a $45 per square foot cost. It does include the engineering cost, but no land, and it sits on 18 acres. So they did theirs a little bit. They used dollars from, again, the NC East Alliance that was earmarked for economic development and had to be used for economic development. And then they had about $250,000 from private funding, and then when the building sells, the money will go back into probably another shell building. So one of the things that I've been really trying to keep track of is when I get projects in, I keep a spreadsheet of what their requirements are and whether I submitted something, I had product to submit on that project, or if I declined to submit on that project due to the fact I don't have anything that meets their needs. So if you'll please go to the slide with the, there you go. Okay, so this is what Wayne County has right now in product versus need. If you'll take a look at the blue dots on this chart, this represents the buildings that we have available in Wayne County right now that I have to market. The bottom row is the square footage of the building, and up along the left-hand side is the ceiling heights. The bars indicate the projects that I get in that I've had to decline to submit on due to the fact that I do not have the product. And as you can see, there are a lot more dots on the lower part of, or the bottom part of that chart than there are bars. So what that tells you is, and the length of the bars are, they may start out at a certain square footage, but they want to expand onto another square footage, and the height of them goes on up. You can see 46 foot ceiling heights up to that point. So I don't have the product, as you can see, and there's more and more that come along every day that I have to decline if they're looking for an existing building with that ceiling height. I don't have it. So I felt like this was a really good example just to show you what we do have and what I'm working with or don't have to work with. So if we can move. Again, Mr. Wood indicated that our board of directors for the WCDA has recognized this problem and this issue, and so we have taken provisions to and have approved to move forward, make a recommendation to you in which in 2015 or the end of it, you awarded us the opportunity to go out for bid to do a pad-ready site out at Park East on Lot 8. This is a 100,000 square foot pad. So if we can't have a building, we need to have a site as ready as possible, because they want to come in and they don't want to have the cost or the time to have to prep that site. They want to be able to just start building on it immediately. So after we've sold a couple of buildings. There have been a couple of buildings that I was marketing up until the hurricane came, and some of those have been purchased due to people moving out of the flood area into higher ground. So that left me with less and less building products. So now what we're doing is we've recognized we have to do something and build a shell building, and that's what I'm coming before you today, is that now that we're doing the pad-ready site on Lot 8, we'd also like to build approximately a 50 to 60,000 square foot building, expandable to 100,000 square foot. Again, if you remember the chart I showed you, we picked that size of building because that seems to be a favorable site. We have a lot of projects coming through that are of that size. Of course, we do have other projects that are 100,000 square foot and plus, but that seems to be a really good size that moves very quickly. Next slide, please. I indicated the metal structure from other communities building, and we were a little concerned about, or some questions about building metal structures and how it would look in our covenants and everything, but I think we can address that, and our covenants in the park have some provisions in it that may allow this. But if you'll take a look at this, this is a metal building, and it actually looks like a precast concrete or tilt-up concrete. It's a very nice, presentable building that would go well in the park. It's insulated walls in this, and if you'll go to the next slide, before you have the cost. I gave 3 options to our board, the WCDA board, and one was just the metal building without insulated walls, one with insulated walls, and then a precast concrete. And that the favorable option was the middle one in green with the metal building with the insulated walls. And so that comes out to about $1.6 million without some of the, there's some additional architectural fees, fencing or stone flooring that we could add to that, but just the basics that we would do. This would have ventilated fans, louvers for some ventilation throughout the building. We would do some knockout doors for some dock doors and do some maybe 10 to 20 parking spaces through that. So the WCDA board voted to make a recommendation to the commissioners to approve moving forward with the shell building so that I will have product to present and market and be able to recruit new industries. So with that said, I'd like to read the letter of recommendation from our board chair. On behalf of the Wayne County Development Alliance and its board of directors, please accept this letter of recommendation to authorize County Manager George Wood to advertise for proposals to build a 50,000 square foot metal building with 2-inch insulated walls with an alternate size of 60,000 square foot on Lot 8 at the Park East Industrial Park, and to negotiate with the city to assist with the remaining costs not covered by the revenues from the former shell building in Mount Olive and the recent acreage sold within the Park East designated for economic development property. And the cost that I had given you, the sale of that shell building in Mount Olive and the 4 acres that we recently sold at Park East would go towards building that building. And at this time, I think Mr. Wood would like to elaborate a little bit further on the cost and what we found out and how we can cover that cost.
Crystal and I met with Ernie Pearson, who, as y'all know, is one of our consultants in economic development, and he had talked about a community development block grant loan from the North Carolina Department of Commerce. So we followed up with him to get more details, and then he followed up. He recommended that we go see the assistant director who runs that program. We did that, met up in Raleigh, and basically the program would do this. The total cost for the building and limited site work, we're estimating is about $1.7 million. One half of that, $850,000, could be obtained from a 5-year community development block grant loan. It says grant, but that's the CDBG section. When he first talked about it, we thought it was a grant, so we got real excited. It's still a good program, but it's not as good as a grant. Anyway, the loan is for 2% interest annually, with the first 2 years being interest only. It is designed specifically for shell buildings, and so they're giving you 2 years to get it built, hopefully market it before you start repayment. The last 3 years have 3 equal annual principal payments. So out of the $1.7 million, half of it, $850,000, would be this loan, which we would have to pay back over a 5-year period. The other half, one half, can be paid from the $650,000 reserved on our balance sheet for economic development projects, which is from the proceeds of the shell building sold to Mount Olive Pickle Company, and the remainder from the $448,000 from selling the 4 acres of commercial property in Park East. So you have the $850,000 and more than that with this money. All interest payments would be paid from the remainder of those funds as well. So what that means is that over a 5-year period, then we would have to pay off the $850,000. Now, the Development Alliance recommends that we negotiate with the city to assist in the remaining cost. We've done that, but they have declined to participate as of today's date. So that's where we're at right now. What we're talking about doing is we would actually apply for a $1.9 million loan because as y'all know, we currently have a contract that starts in May to do this site work. And that's close to $200,000, so we'd like to throw that in as well and spread our cost. We'll have to repay it, but that's better than coming up with the upfront money immediately. So we'd like to put that in as well, because this program will pay 1/2 of the cost for up to $2 million. So in other words, they'll put in up to $1 million on it. So with that, we'd like to include that as well. The CDBG loan application is due before Memorial Day, which is the end of May, to get an award for June 2017. So we do need to make a decision soon on it. And so that's where we're at on it. I think that's the overall financing on it at this point.
Mr. Chairman. A few comments. I, above everyone else, have probably been more critical in regards to the Shell building over the past 20 years. What I have learned, though, as commissioner and being involved with the WCDA, is that if you do not have a Shell building, you are eliminated right off the bat. I want everybody to imagine that you are a industry CEO and you're looking for a new location and you need a new building. You're going to contact the State Department of Commerce and they're going to ask, what kind of buildings do you have available? My needs are a 40,000 square foot building with a 35-foot ceiling height. Please send me a list of those that are available throughout the state of North Carolina. Well, when you get that, that is your selection pool. If you don't have a building that meets that criteria, guess what? They're not going to come here and visit in Wayne County. They are going to only come based upon the availability of the building that meets their needs. It's just that simple. Now, do I like taking tax dollars and actually investing in a building that should be there for private industry to build and market? No, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But if you don't do it, folks, we're going to be sitting here in Wayne County twiddling our thumbs while all our neighboring counties receive those industry executives coming into their communities. So it is something that we need to do. What has this board done to try to minimize that cost? The first thing we did is we sold a Shell building. Now let me talk about the ugly baby for a minute. Why did we sit here with a Shell building in Wayne County for 18 years? The reason we did that is because the darn thing was overpriced. It was overpriced by hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, again, we had a Shell building, and the CEOs saw that we had a Shell building. They came and they said, well, what size is it? Well, it's 35,000 square feet, and we want $1.8 million for it. Well, are you crazy? I can build one for half that. So they eliminated us because we were asking twice the value of the building. We finally sold that building to a great company, and with those proceeds, along with the sale of some property in Park East, we are accumulating the dollars in order to offset our cost. We've done the prudent things necessary, but we need help now. We need to come together as a community and recognize that we need to invest in a Shell building. Look, I'd like to see us have two, but let's at least get one. We need to have a Shell building. We've gone out and we've recruited the right people to market our county, but they cannot market it unless they have product to market. So it's that simple. That said, I'm also really taken back by the fact that the city of Goldsboro evidently is not wanting to assist us in regards to providing that. Now, while I'm putting this black hat on, I reckon I'm going to call out the city council. I need the city council basically to take a long look at this, because we as a community came together and we agreed to join forces to build the new Maxwell Regional Agricultural Convention Center. We can do the same thing on this project as well. So, Mr. Chairman, with that in mind, I would make a motion that we table this matter until we have some further discussions with the city of Goldsboro.
Are there any comments on that motion?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
The ceiling heights and the style of buildings that's already been discussed, I'm in the manufacturing sector. I can tell you that manufacturing facilities have to be high-tech buildings this day and time in order to house and to accommodate the high-end machining, fabrication, welding that aerospace industries do, as well as aircraft industries. These buildings, the old buildings that we have, the Dewey Brothers and those older buildings, the old GE plant, these buildings do not suit the high-tech manufacturing sector of today. That's why we need, and I'm with Commissioner Daughter. When I first came on the board, we had that shell building down in Mount Olive at that time for like 10 or 12 years. Man, I was, what in the world's going on? Well, when I got into it, you're right. It was overpriced. And so this time it's done because the market has changed from what it was 15 years ago in industry and in manufacturing in particular. On the negative side, I probably shouldn't say this, but I am, because it's something that I've been fighting for 5 years being on this commission board. We have people in Wayne County, we have citizens in Wayne County that do not want to use any type of taxpayer money for any incentive for industry whatsoever, for no reason. Doesn't matter. The only problem with that is that that's why in certain cases that South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, all our neighboring states are cleaning their clocks when it comes to getting industry in. It's just like I in the manufacturing sector bidding on a huge project for Bowie. It's on a competitive bid when it comes to clients to move in Wayne County. Now, having said that, there's some citizens there in Wayne County that have preached against tax incentives, but at the same time don't have a problem going out and building public buildings on public bid and collecting taxpayer money for their own business in order to build a public building. So the bottom line is that over the 12 years that Mike Haney has gone back on the incentives that Wayne County has done. Every single instance, I still have it. With the NC1 program and other things, in 13 years, Wayne County has not lost one tax dollar on any incentives that we have given to industry here in Wayne County. If anybody would like to see those, I still got them. But the bottom line is that we got to be competitive. And we got, sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees. I'm in support of this shell building. I think the location also has an effect on close to interstates, and all these things have a lot to do with it. And so being in manufacturing for 39 years, I'm in support of this shell building, not because I just want to spend the money. It's because the environment has changed in industries, all industries, in the United States of America over the last 15 years. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I once again would like to thank those who spoke eloquently of the dollar side. I want to address the people side of this for a moment, and the education side. And I want to reach out to our comrades in the city. Oftentimes I read that a cure to some of the problems that we have are jobs, and that is the truth. Jobs. If a persons have jobs that they can look forward to and the opportunity to look forward to, then other things become less attractive. I just want to reach out to our colleagues who I have read their comments that we need jobs, jobs, jobs. Well, if Crystal, if she can help to bring in industry, it's just not going to be the white collar job sitting in the office. That's just a few. What we're looking forward to is the day that we'll be competitive, that can bring in the companies that will bring in 100, 200, 300 jobs, and which will give our young people an opportunity to be more upwardly mobile and employable. This other part of that is Wayne Community College sitting right out there perfectly ready to teach folk the skills that they need to fill these jobs. It's all connected, folk. I'm sorry. It costs money, but it's all connected. And we got to do something for our youth in Wayne County to have a future to look forward to. And jobs, everything I read in the newspaper and all, most of the problems that we have center around jobs. At least that's what I'm reading in the newspaper. Thank you. And I support the Shell building and all other initiatives that can somehow or another bring better jobs to Wayne County.
Anything else on this side? I'm gonna make more comment. It'll be quick. Like he was saying, I was opposed to any kind of Shell building because I saw how long that was sat in Mount Holland. But after being on WCDA, I found out it was overpriced, undersized, did not fit the market. And the people who were building these things obviously weren't looking at the market trends because they built the wrong thing. And I think that Crystal and her staff have done a good job of educating us and showing us what really is needed. But having worked so closely with the city on the other projects, I'm just surprised they haven't stepped forward yet. So that's why I'm going to support tabling it this time. Give us the opportunity to talk to our fellow colleagues over at the city because they've worked with us in the past. I'm sure they'll work with us in the future. So I am going to call the question. All those in favor of tabling this motion at this time, please raise your right hand. Your table. Okay, where are we here? Canterbury Village, North Creek.
Okay, this is, I've given you some excerpts from the bid package. We're ready to go to bid for this. I have the complete package if anybody wants to read it. It's about 45 pages long, but it does meet DOT specifications. Just to refresh your memory, this is the project where the folks out there have given us a petition, 75% or more signed the petition saying they wanted us to do the project, and then they would pay special assessments to reimburse the county over a 10-year period. And so as you saw, we have the money going into the bond issue, and that portion of it is paid off in 10 years, whatever that interest rate comes up to. You have approved going forward with this. The interest rate that they would pay is 5%, which will be a little bit more than what we can sell the bonds for, and that's for the administration and everything. So we're ready to go out for bid. I just need to know if you're okay with us going out, sending the bid package out, and we're ready to go.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to authorize the county manager to advertise for bids for the Canterbury Village North Creek subdivision road improvements.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr.
Yes, Chairman.
It's probably in all these pages of paperwork, George, but did we have something in writing? I know we talked about that once this is done, that the DOT have agreed to take over the streets. Did we have anything in writing?
They have given us an email that says if they're built to standards, they will take them.
Okay. That's great. That's what we need to know. So at this time, this has been a long time coming. I want to thank the commission board and especially George Wood. I know we're just starting on this. This is our first one, and it's been a long time coming. But I appreciate your hard work and others that have made this come to this point. I encourage the other subdivisions, watch this project that we're getting ready to go out for bids, because I think we're hoping that this project will be finished, Mr. Wood, by sometime the end of the summer or?
Yeah, the end of the summer,
the end of the
early
summer.
fall.
So I would encourage the other subdivisions that are looking at, look at this project, go over there and see what's happening after it's finished, and keep in mind that we still have some other roads in other subdivisions that are in just as bad a shape as what we're seeing here in North Creek and Canterbury Village. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any more discussion? All right, we had a motion on the floor. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. We're good. Okay, consent agenda, we went over that pretty closely in the 8 o'clock session. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there any discussion?
That's with the elimination of item 3.
That is correct. That is moved to new business.
Okay.
And so, no other discussion. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay. Small Business Week, Wayne County. I should have known you'd be behind it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank y'all for the opportunity to come and be here today. We do have a resolution. I don't know if you've got it before you or if I may just proceed with reading it. I am here on behalf of the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce, and I am so thrilled to have Chairman of the Board, John Best, has joined us. Those of you that know Mr. Best, you'll know he speaks much more eloquently than I do. So I'm going to read part of the resolution, and I'm going to pass it over to him and let him close with a few words. But on behalf of the Chamber, we appreciate the commissioners for their steadfast support of business and growth in our community. We all know that quality of life is one of the things that is at the most of importance for all of us here in creating jobs and retaining jobs and educating our children and all the things that go hand in hand. So we appreciate it. We're here for Small Business Week, but at the Wayne County Chamber, we support and promote and celebrate small business 365 days a year. So if I may, whereas America's progress has been driven by pioneers who think big, take risks, and work hard, and whereas from the storefront shops that anchor Main Street to the high-tech startups that keep America on the cutting edge, small businesses are the backbone of our economy and the cornerstones of our nation's promise. And whereas small business owners and Main Street businesses have energy and a passion for what they do, and whereas when we support small business, jobs are created and local communities preserve their unique culture. And whereas because this country's 28 million small businesses create nearly 2 out of 3 jobs in our economy, we cannot resolve ourselves to create jobs and spur economic growth in America without discussing ways to support our entrepreneurs.
Whereas the President of the United States has proclaimed National Small Business Week every year since 1963 to highlight the programs and services available to entrepreneurs through the U.S. Small Business Administration and other government agencies. And whereas Wayne County supports and joins in this national effort to help America's small business do what they do best: grow their business, create jobs, and ensure our communities remain vibrant today and tomorrow. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Wayne County Board of Commissioners recognizes the innovations and contributions of small businesses and declares its support for small businesses, and does hereby proclaim April 30th through May 6, 2017 as National Small Business Week in Wayne County, and encourages all of its citizens to express their gratitude and support for small business in Wayne County. I would like to offer a few comments to the board. I know each of you, and I appreciate your hard work, your dedication, and your service to Wayne County. I'm proud of the leadership that we've got in Wayne County.
and I've lived here for 46 years. And I think the things that we've got going on now, the progress we're making, we're on the march, folks. And I just want to say that I think we're setting ourselves up as the type of community that other communities are looking to emulate. So thank you for your time and service. And as a citizen, I just want to tell you, you probably don't give it enough, but thank you for what you do. Now, as it relates to Small Business Week, I want to again thank this board for their recognition and continued support for small businesses. The importance of small businesses cannot be overstated. More than half of Americans either own or work in a small business. And we all know it takes a lot of courage and hard work to open and run a small business. And it makes me think of the quote, 20 years from now, you'll regret the things you didn't do more than the things you did do. Small business owners are the ones who had the courage to step forward and say, yeah, we can do this. And if you think about it, small business is what makes this world continue to grow and to prosper. Every large company, every successful business enterprise started out as a small business. It started out with an idea. It started out in a back room, in a basement, in a garage. So today, the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce wishes to join this board in celebrating all those who had the courage to step forward and try something new and make our society the better for it. Thank you.
Thank you. We don't get a lot of thanks. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to adopt proclamation for Small Business Week in Wayne County as presented and read so eloquently by Kate Daniels, John Best, and thank both of y'all for your kind comments.
Is there any discussion? We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you so much. All right, next, National Day of Prayer. I think we have someone here for that as well.
Yes, we do.
My name is Lynn Tuning. I do represent the Wayne County United in Prayer Task Force. And I do not have the resolution. Thank you. Now, if I can just get my glasses. As always, we're very thankful for your support each year in this country, all across America, this event. It is the most important day that Christians across our country come together, united in prayer. And we say every year that there's ever a time that we need to pray in this country, it's this year. And we do look around and we see the chaos and we see the decline in morals and we see that it seems like we're just falling apart, but we know that no matter who our leadership is, God is always the answer. So with that, whereas May 4th, 2017 is the 66th annual observance of the National Day of Prayer, and whereas the Continental Congress in 1775 asked the colonies to pray for wisdom in forming a nation, and whereas as the Senate of the United States devoutly recognizing the supreme authority and just government of Almighty God in all the affairs of men and of nations, has by resolution requested the President to designate and set apart a day for National Day of Prayer and Humiliation. And whereas in 1863, President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a day of fasting and prayer, and whereas in 1952, President Harry Truman signed a joint resolution by the United States Congress declaring an annual National Day of Prayer, and whereas in 1988, President Ronald Reagan signed an amended law permanently setting the National Day of Prayer as the first Thursday of every May, and whereas in 1988, the United States Congress passed a law directing the President to issue a proclamation each year designating the first Thursday in May as a National Day of Prayer, on which the people in this country may turn to God in prayer and meditation at churches, in groups, and as individuals. And whereas the Wayne County Board of Commissioners believes prayer is important to our nation and community at this time as it was in the 1700s, and whereas those participating in the National Day of Prayer will pray for the governments, the churches, the brave men and women serving in our armed forces, families, education, the media, businesses, and the economy, and we do add our youth across our county. All this being done in sincerity and truth, let us then rest humbly in the hope authorized by the divine teachings that the united cry of the nation will be heard on high and answered with blessings no less than the pardon of our national sins and the restoration of our now divided and suffering country to its former happy condition of unity and peace. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wayne County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim May 4th as the National Day of Prayer. We thank you so much for your support each year because it helps us get the word out. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much. Is there a motion on the floor to approve the resolution as read? John? Okay, I've got a motion on the floor. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And it will be at the Family YMCA at 7 o'clock on that Thursday night.
Okay, let's move on. This is the preliminary plat for Planters Ridge. Chip went over pretty extensively in the 8 o'clock session, so I'm not gonna make you do it again unless they got questions. Are there any questions on the preliminary plat? You made it?
I will.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve preliminary plat for Planters Ridge.
All right, we got a motion on the floor. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. You're unanimous. Okay. Wayne Community College appropriate budget amendment. We can go to that.
Yeah, this is to reallocate funds for Wayne Community College. You have a memo from Joy Carnegie, who's at the college. She sent it to Allison requesting this. We had held $145,000 of their 16-17 capital budget in reserve until Dr. Walker arrived. I think he was coming in in September at that point. Basically what they are asking for is they have a project to renovate and create more functional nursing simulation lab space, and they're asking that you free up this $145,000 to be reallocated to that project.
Are there any questions? Who'd like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the reallocation of funds to Wayne Community College with the appropriate budget.
Forgot that you were gonna make that motion. Motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I want to thank the board for taking this, acting on this today. I think this shows that the Board of Trustees at the college and the new president is looking at the best interest of the students. It was discussed at the Board of Trustees meeting, and this money will be better spent instead of a storage building to go into the nursing program, because Wayne Community College has an outstanding nursing program, and there's always room at area hospitals for qualified nurses. And I just want to commend Dr. Walker and his staff for making the change from moving this from a maintenance storage building to an active classroom. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Okay, we had moved number 3 from the consent agenda to new business, which is the resolution supporting the CPA workplace. Let me find my page on that.
Mr. Chairman, you want a motion?
Yes, yes, sir. 27.
First of all, I want to make a comment. This resolution has been passed by this board in the past. And so therefore, I want to put in form of a motion that we support the state funding for the Charles B. Aycock birthplace.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I would like to amend that motion and ask that this resolution be pulled from the agenda until the commissioners have had an opportunity to discuss this. And I would like to also ask that somebody on this board, whoever is promoting this, bring a complete history of what this is all about before we, I think we deserve a right to have a discussion on this, not just throw a resolution on the floor without any discussion, something as serious as this. And I would like to ask the commissioners if they would, let's pull this until a later date. And that's in the form of a motion.
That would be an amended motion, correct?
Yes, sir.
If you have a comment on that, then you vote on his amendment.
So we'll vote on his amendment first, is that correct? Okay.
Any comment on his
Okay.
amendment?
Is there any comments?
Yes, Chair. Evidently, this matter has created a little firestorm this morning, but let me say that America's had a long and sometimes tumultuous history. And we cannot go back and undo history. We can't. You know, we all read where we want to tear down Confederate monuments. And I don't understand what we're trying to accomplish here. Those things that occurred years ago are in our history. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's kind of like your family. You know, there's things in your family that really and truly you wish that person didn't do that. But it's your family. It's our history. And we need to continue moving forward. Learn from our past and change those things that we want to change to make it better. This resolution does not bring up those issues. It talks about a place that is in Wayne County that is for school children, as we were told today. It is a park. It is funded by state funds. And if we don't support it, it'll go away. And I don't understand what we possibly could accomplish by doing that. I agree with those that say that this particular individual had some things that he did in his history that I wish he hadn't done, and I'm sure if he were here today, would wish he hadn't done. But that's behind us. We can't control those things. And so I would ask, I mean, we have in fact passed this resolution before. It's not a matter that it's something that comes up. We do in fact support, I think, the furtherance of that particular state park here in our county. But anyway, I'll hush.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mann first. Then I'll come back to you.
I've been closely monitoring the budget and so forth over in the legislature in reference to the Charles B. Aycock birthplace because it is in my district. I've been working really close with Mayor Flowers and our elected officials, our elected delegation in Raleigh to make sure that we get funding for the Charles B. Aycock birthplace. And I've had several meetings up in Fremont with the mayor and other elected officials up there. And I haven't so far gotten any negative feedback about the Charles B. Aycock birthplace. I have not gotten that as the commissioner of District 1. And having said that, I know there's a lot more to the story, but the key is that the Charles B. Aycock birthplace, the way it is operating and what it shows today, has nothing, there's nothing there as far as race is concerned. It's there for education of our children. And if we're going to take away that privilege and have the Charles B. Aycock birthplace shut down along with others in our state, why don't we just take this National Day of Prayer that we just read the resolution and take out President Abraham Lincoln? Why don't we take him out? Why don't we take out all the presidents that served during the times that we're talking about? Because that's where we're headed. If we keep nitpicking at everything that happens in this country, there will be no history for our kids. So where do we draw the line here? I've got things in my past that I certainly don't want. Yeah, I got skeletons in my closet. Charles B. Aycock and all other elected officials have things in their closet that I do not want to be made public. Does that make it where I'm not fit to sit on this commission board? If that's the case, I need to step down now. We are judging people based on the fact that they can't be here to answer for themselves. So I'm in support of the Charles B. Aycock birthplace. It is in my district. The people up there in my area, I have not had not one person come to me as a commissioner, or Mayor Flowers for that matter, and say that I am against the Charles B. Aycock birthplace. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bell.
Mr. Chairman, I can very well understand why certain numbers of my fellow commissioners can make these comments. You never had the things that happened to you that happened to me. So you can't live in that era. No, it's not a problem for you. And I can understand that. But if you're going to tell the story, tell the true story. Don't just say, I got skeletons in my closet, so, all that stuff. Tell the cotton-picking true story about Governor Aycock, and then we can live with it. But don't disguise it and manipulate it and make it look like that he was a genius to everybody that lived back during those days, and it's not true. So I will vote for the Charles B. Aycock birthplace if you tell the truth about it. But what you want to make it look like, that all those people that he hurt and injured back during those days don't count. Well, they do count. Whether you like it or not, they count. And I don't care whether you like it or not at this point in my life. You got to stop coming up here trying to act like whatever happened back then don't count today. Well, it does. I bet you any amount of money you want to bet. If I bring Dr. Barber up here and try to create a birthplace for him, not a one of you would support it. And I don't want you to raise your hand because you wouldn't be telling the truth. So I still offer my motion to pull it until we've had an opportunity to discuss this in detail.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Before the vote is called, I would like to exercise my opportunity to make a comment. Mr. Bell brings out what has been a hurtful situation in the past for a lot of our colleagues. To say that no one has raised a comment or a problem, that's not the truth. Last year, probably 12 months, 13, 14 months, Governor Charles B. Aycock name came up as a reference to high school. There was a lot of comments about it. There were meetings about it. There was explanations about it. I won't put anyone on the spot, but I know that at the Broken Places building, folk came down and there was a discussion about it. And there was quite a bit of discussion related to the problems that were created around the 1898 time frame. I'm a student of history, and I wish we would all look back and see what happened in the past, so we would be prone not to let it happen again. But just let me read something to you. 1900, C.B. Aycock was escorted by vigilantes who played a key role in harassing and attacking black and Republican voters. as governor, he oversaw some of the North Carolina's earliest Jim Crow laws. I've read information that said that a lot of the states in the South patterned what they did after North Carolina, and a lot of it had to do with what Charles B. Aycock talked about. Now, this is just what's in the history books, folks. I didn't make this up. I researched it and looked at it because I'm a person who believes in just bringing out the facts and leave the editorializing to someone else. Recently, over the last couple of years, University of Greensboro has dropped the name of the auditorium that had been named for Governor Aycock because of some of the things that happened. And this is what's a little perplexing, and I don't want to be too comical about this, but Governor Aycock was a Democrat, and he harassed Republicans. And you see, the reason that Mr. Bell has said to me in other times, we don't need to bring politics on this board, is because oftentimes the names change. He was a Democrat. You all are Republicans. He was creating problems for Republicans back then. And although I know that many of us sitting here know there's a difference in the philosophy of what the political parties were back then, but I'm saying that's the reason we don't need to interject politics on this board where we have to try to do good for the citizens. But we cannot exclude or excuse the facts as they are. Now, I'll close with this. Mr. Bell said that he would support the C.B. Aycock birthplace if it was told just like it happened. If the folk who promote the use of that birthplace want us all to support it, then go tell the truth about it. A cosmetic look at a mule plowing a field out there needs to have the person behind that plow who was really plowing. If you want to talk about the living conditions, you need to have the real huts out there that people lived in. If you want to talk about what really happened, you bring out the fact that there were a lot of whippings done. And to be a real story, you'd have to have somebody that tied to a post and get a whipping about every month. Tell the truth, and we'll all support it. But let's not live in some cosmetic past that's been glossed over by the history books. I'll leave it up to the school system to decide whether or not they want their children to go to C.B. Aycock birthplace or not. But, and I'll say this in closing, anyone on this board who wants to write a private letter to support this, I applaud you. That's your private right. But when you put a resolution on the board for all of us, then that means we have to go along with that resolution and misrepresent our constituency, because I have constituency out there, as Mr. Bell does, that does not support this, and they know the real history.
Mr. Pate.
I'm going to go ahead and get the vote going.
Vote.
We'll be voting on the amendment first.
Pull it and add the history.
That's the motion. Okay. All those in favor of Mr. Bell's amendment, please raise your right hand. All those opposed? And now we'll go to the vote on the original motion made by Mr. Aycock. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Those opposed? It's 4-2. Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on to the county update video. Excuse me, 5-3. I can't count.
He doesn't know where to begin. What are we at?
The video.
The video. Oh, I thought you said county manager's comments.
Hello and welcome to the County Update video for April 2017. This video is produced by the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners each month to keep county officials informed about association activities. March was a very eventful month at your association, so let's begin this month with a historic event for the NCACC. Here is our Executive Director, Kevin Leonard, with more.
At approximately 10:15 p.m. on Thursday, March 16th, fire broke out at a construction site adjacent to the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners offices located in the Albert Coates Local Government Center and the Quorum Center in Wake County. The fire grew for more than an hour before it was contained, and significant damage was sustained. Gratefully, no major injuries were reported, thanks to an incredible emergency response effort by Wake County, City of Raleigh, and surrounding area fire and police first responders. Accounts from that night say the flames from the fire towered several stories above the 15-story Quorum Center, which is across the street from the construction site of the Metropolitan apartment complex that burned. The complex was about half finished at the time of the blaze. Some first responders said the heat could be felt blocks away from the fire, and nearly every building within a block of the fire sustained some level of damage. The fire made national news shows the following morning, and the local media reported that this fire was the largest blaze and the first 5-alarm fire in Raleigh in nearly a century. NCACC offices located in the Quorum Center sustained some fire damage in the form of shattered windows and melted computer monitors on the side facing the fire, as well as significant smoke and water damage throughout. The Coat Center incurred water and smoke damage, as well as some fire damage to the roof and windows on the League of Municipalities side of the building. The NCACC staff, after catching its collective breath on that Friday morning, immediately began the process of getting association operations back on track. The management team met in a nearby restaurant on Friday, and communications with staff and the NCACC Board of Directors was handled via email, mobile phone, and text messages as everyone was updated on the situation and the next steps were discussed. Some staff continued to work from home over the next week, and others worked from a Wake County Library location as efforts began to find a new space to operate went on. Restoration efforts also began as the removal of salvageable contents of the 2 offices got underway. Restoration companies removed and cleaned everything from furniture to computer equipment to meeting minutes and right down to the association seal that was on the wall in the Albert Coates building. After a number of offers to help were received, including office space and assistance of all kinds, such as Wake County offering a space they had available, the NCACC settled on a temporary office location at 353 Six Forks Road, Suite 300, Raleigh, North Carolina, due in large part to the fact that the owner was willing to work with the association on a short-term lease for a furnished space with network connectivity built into the space, a combination that would allow staff to get operations back up to speed as quickly as possible. Over the following weeks, association staff has continued to work diligently to get operations up and running and back to 100%. With the new temporary office space identified and leased in just over a week after the fire, and staff having moved years' worth of files, as well as equipment and furniture with the help of the restoration companies, the recovery efforts were underway with very little delay. Although confronted with significant challenges from an unanticipated situation, the NCACC team did a remarkable job of coming together and working hard to make sure that our members have been served throughout this process.
For more information on the fire and the recovery efforts, please visit our website and click on the Fire Update banner at the top of the page. 2 steering committees met before the fire, and several others will meet soon after being rescheduled. Please visit www.ncacc.org/steering committees for more information. Don't forget about district meetings this month and County Assembly Day in May. Please visit our website and click on the NCACC Calendar of Events graphic on the bottom of the page. There you can see the entire list of upcoming events. We continue to produce our legislative briefs sent out each week via email, and we also invite you to watch our Made for Government television program this week at the General Assembly to stay up to date on legislation of concern to county governments. You can find both at our website. For specific questions, please contact us by emailing communications@ncacc.org. That wraps it up for this month. Thank you for watching, and
Now, say while we're meeting at the library, I didn't realize they got smoked that bad.
hit pretty bad,
I didn't realize that. Anyway, time for your comments.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
If y'all will take, each one of you take the first 2 as you go across, there are 2 different letters there I want to go over with you.
Just give me a copy of each.
Two, yeah, each one is two, back to back.
2 packs.
I'm running out of copy of one, I guess.
That's the same one.
This is the same thing.
Well, yeah, it was supposed to be
Yep.
one, and then the other was right behind it.
Oh, they're stapled together.
No, they're not stapled together, they're two separate.
Mine's a lot,
We're cutting short.
both of mine's alike.
Too.
These are all alike.
Yeah. Both copies are the same.
Both copies are the same?
Yeah.
Well, let me go over them real quick with you.
Okay.
You know,
What we've got is, and I want to give Chip, Mel, and particularly Kendall Lee a lot of credit on this. We've been attending these meetings about additional state funding to recuperate from the hurricane. And two of the projects we put in for, Kendall put in for as the facilities director. The state routed this additional money through the Golden Leaf Foundation, so we had to apply for this. And basically what they've said is, I'm pleased to inform you that the Board of Directors of the Golden Leaf Foundation has approved a grant for your project, EMS Station 1 Replacement 7 Springs, in the amount of $300,000. So we have gotten $300,000 to replace that EMS station down there. And that is a grant, that is not a loan, that's a grant. Second thing is, if you recall, we have the major pump station out behind SPX in the middle of that field. That is very low-lying area. It stays kind of saturated all the time. If you remember, I've told you in the past, that pump station is unusual. The design of it is from the 70s, and it has what's called an open wet well. Sewer stations to pump stations today, that's enclosed. And what that means is that when it floods, you know, it's like we're draining the world. And so I do want to also report to you, we did get a credit from the city of Goldsboro for about $18,000 for the month of October. They worked with us very well, used their normal policy of taking a 6-month average. So basically you throw out what you got that month and you use the 6-month average for what your normal flows are. So we got that, but more importantly than that $18,000 is we asked for a replacement for that pump station. And Kendall has gotten $178,000 for the sewer lift station at Genoa. So we're going to replace that entire pump station at no cost to the county. So between the three of them working on all of this, going to the meetings, and Kendall doing the background work, getting the paperwork done and all of that, we've gotten almost $500,000 of additional money for those two projects. So that takes the cost of one of those EMS stations off the table completely. And it will allow us to do this sewer pump station without having to use any sewer fund money to do it. We had it down, I think Facilities Committee had been talking about doing it sometime in the future. That's really the last major issue I think we've had on our sewer system. So this takes care of it. So I wanted y'all to be aware of that. And again, I just wanted to commend Kendall on his hard work on that. The other things I wanted to mention to you are we have had two major employee interview sessions. One is a replacement for Cindy. We have done that. We've hired Christy Parker, who is a paralegal in Kinston, but Christy lives here in Goldsboro. So she's actually a native of Goldsboro. She brings a lot of years of experience to the job. She will start next Monday. And so she will work basically for a week with Cindy. So we'll have a good transition there and be ready to go. The other thing I did want to mention to you is that we are very close to hiring an MRAC director. We have interviewed 7 people, and I'll be talking with you further on that. And other than that, we have been spending the bulk of our time over the last couple of weeks on budget sessions. I think we've got 2 more full days of meeting with departments. We've met with all of the nonprofits. We've met with the majority of our departments. We'll finish that up at least by Friday, and then we'll be putting it together and getting it to you around mid to late May. So that's the major things we've been working on, as well as these other projects like the Canterbury project. We are moving, have been moving forward on some other projects as well, as y'all know. So, and we continue to move forward on the whole question of EMS station location.
Thank you. What time are we supposed to be out there?
11:30, we were supposed to.
Okay. Well, let's start with comments. Mr. Mayor, start down there with you.
I only have a couple. I wanted to give an update. The 4-H Rotor Raptors, if you haven't heard, they're going to Houston for the World Championships. As a matter of fact, the robot has already shipped, and to be honest with you, it's costing a little bit for them to go out there. It's going to be in Houston, Texas, April 19th through the 22nd. The cost, and this is taken care of by most of the sponsors of the Rotor Raptors, the cost is $25,000. But the key is that these kids have, well, they're actually young adults. They are good at what they do, and we're just hoping that they can come back. Wouldn't it be something if Wayne County 4-H Rotor Rapids came back with a world championship? So
I think it's set up a GoFundMe page too. A GoFundMe.
Yeah.
I don't know what the address is. I've got it.
Yeah, it's but the key is that we need to be proud of what's going on with our young people, not only in 4-H but across the county. Real quick, just as a matter of information, well, as you know, the Department of Social Services Board, we've been meeting quite often lately in different sessions, and we're real close to coming forward with a interim director for DSS, and I will, as the information becomes available. Right now, we do have a rough contract that we're looking at, and Mr. Parker is. But the bottom line is that it's taken a lot of time. George has been involved in that, Craig and Geraldine, and several of us have been involved in these meetings. It seems like everything that we do in this county, and it should be, it's a priority. It is a priority. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kamari.
No further comment.
Mr. Dollar.
I want to expand just a little bit in regards to the importance of the shell building. I don't want to beat this dead horse to you, but we and this board has worked hard to accumulate some resources to provide that shell building without really having to go deep into the hole. I am just urging the city council and Goldsboro to come join us and join up with us in regards to making this thing a reality. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Bale.
Me. I would just like to make one brief comment and ask you, Mr. Chairman, that you would coordinate with us to not have any commissioner to put a controversial resolution on the floor and expect it to be dealt with that same minute. We ought to get it and then give an opportunity to discuss it and cut out this kind of stuff that we had. We don't need to damage the continuity of this board by personal likes or dislikes. So, I mean, I learned a lot from the conversation that we had this morning. And do I take offense to it? Yes, I think you know that already. You didn't show enough respect for Ed Cromartie and I, to even delay that deal just for a few minutes. I think that's kind of important from the way I see things, So, well, I'll just leave it at that.
Mr. Hancock.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to make a comment that on April 8th, they had the first responders event out at the Wayne Regional Fairgrounds. Appreciate, I thank the sheriff and his staff and a lot of volunteers put that on just to show respect for our first responders, which are, include law enforcement, EMS, fire, all of our first responders. In fact, we had some there representing the base also. And I just want to thank them for putting that on, and I think it was a good event. Also, attended the groundbreaking at UNC, at Wayne UNC Hospital on the new operating rooms. Had a great turnout for that. Appreciate Commissioner Gurley representing the county. Mr. Pate was under the weather right on, or under the shoulder or whatever, but anyhow, thank you, Mr. Gurley, for representing the county on that. And I won't want to say anything else, but the resolution that came up today has been in everyone's agenda packet since last Thursday when we got them. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you.
Mr. Gurley.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Great news on the 2 Golden Leaf grants. That's going to be a tremendous benefit to this FY 17-18 budget. And to piggyback on that just a little bit, I had the opportunity last Thursday to go down to Kinston, participate in a roundtable discussion with Senator Tom Tillis and staff on Hurricane Matthew. Mr. Wood was tied up in budgets, and Mr. Pate was a little pre-obligated, but that's Representative John Bell was there with the state as well. Lenoir County, City of Kinston folks, Goldsboro Mayor Allen was there, and Scott Stevens, and Seven Springs Mayor Stephen Potter was there. But we just went over a laundry list of concerns, like available grants, the hazard mitigation grant application, about elevations, the timetables on them, expedite NFIP process. But I think the major thing that came to the top each time was the reimbursements from FEMA on the expenses that we've encountered in damages. So that's at the top of the list too. I haven't had a chance to talk to Mr. Wood about it, but basically the end of the conversation was, if you have any concerns, contact Senator Tillis and staff. Adam Caldwell has always been very receptive to our concerns, has always run them up the chain real fast. And I will say Senator Tillis is working hard, his staff's working hard on this Hurricane Matthew. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
One thing about whatever comes in our agenda packages, and I didn't see this as being a divisive thing, so I never thought about it. But if you've got a problem with something that's in the agenda, call me. Call me. So, yeah, I'm not through with that. Last Thursday, I had the opportunity and the privilege of sitting in here by myself while 120 third graders came through this place. And believe it or not, those kids had lots of questions, and I made them come up to the podium and ask questions, because I want you to go home and tell your mom and daddy that you asked the tough questions. And some of them did. But the personal little young lady looked at me and says, "How old are you?" I said, "Don't you think you're getting a little personal there?" But and I told her she couldn't be that way. I said, "I am." She came to see me afterwards and told me, she says, "I think you're just something else." Yeah. I said, "Well, thank you. At least I got an 8-year-old that likes me anyway." But they were so good, and they were late. Like my wife, she's a retired third grade teacher. And I was talking to her, says, "Honey, you're dealing with third graders. They're going to be late." But anyhow, I really enjoyed that, and if anybody has the opportunity to do that again, and I wish it had been filmed, because some of the things that they said were just priceless. They really were. Having said that, I don't guess we really have enough time to do closed session to be out there at 11:30. or do you think so?
I think we can knock out.
Well, let's go to the closed session and for what reason there?
For the same reason we went in this morning.
Okay.
Location of industry, discuss qualifications, competence of employees, and discuss matters of.
Does that should go to closed session?
So moved.
All right, so that go to closed session.
This has been a presentation by Wayne Goldsboro Television of the meeting of the Wayne County Board of Commissioners. Wayne County Commissioners meet the first and third Tuesday of each month in the Commissioners' Meeting Room on the 4th floor of the Wayne County Courthouse at 224 East Walnut Street in Goldsboro, North Carolina. For more information, the County of Wayne is online at www.waynegov.com. The mailing address is Post Office Box 227, Goldsboro, North Carolina 27533. Thank you for watching.